Okay, we are looking at track number 1 from Blues Jam Session 1. It's a 12-bar blues, slow blues in the key of G. It's got some very simple chords, but it's got a nice little intro that we'll go through now. So after the counting, you will hear this. Okay, what's happening there is we play a G7. This first finger bars across the 3rd fret of all the strings, like that. And then what happens is the 3rd finger goes on the 5th fret A string, and the 2nd finger goes on the 4th fret G string, and then we play the whole chord like that. Then the second thing you hear is the little finger goes on the 7th of the chord, the flat 7th as it's known, and that will be on the 6th fret B string. You get that little kind of little movement there. Then you get this C7 chord, which is barring again across that 3rd fret, but just not including the low E string this time. Okay, and then the 3rd finger will be on the 5th fret D string, and the pinky finger will be on the 5th fret B string. And then all you do is you take the 2nd finger and just move it up to that 4th fret on the A string there, and you get a C sharp diminished chord there, okay? And then you finish on D7. I'm actually putting that high. You can put that high in if you want. You get a nice little 9th sound. But it's basically those strings there, and you're playing 5th on the A, 4th on the D, 5th on the G, 3rd on the B. So the little progression just goes that G7, the G7, putting that 6th fret B string in, to the C7, to the C sharp diminished, to the D7, and then we start the progression, which will be G7 for a bar, just arpeggiating like that. We go to C9, okay, back to G7 for 2 bars, we go to C9 for 2 bars, G7 for 2 bars. Then we move up to D9, down a tone to C9. Then our turnaround is this little G figure that we did at the start. Then we go back. Okay, for those of you who don't know what a 9th chord is, and I'm sure you do, the C9, you just put your 2nd finger there on the 3rd fret A string, 1st finger goes on the 2nd fret D string, and then this 3rd finger just bars G, B and high E. That's exactly the same, and you move it up. Okay, so basically rhythm styles, just playing the chords and then just arpeggiating a few of the notes. You can approach the chords from a semitone above or a semitone below. And I sometimes use that little figure for the G and the C, and that's just sliding up from the 3rd fret D to the 5th fret D, also sliding up from the 3rd fret B to the 5th fret B and back down. And this one I'll use over the C a lot as well, which is just sliding up from the 3rd fret G and B, a tone and back. And then this one is sliding up from the 3rd fret G and the 3rd fret high E, up a tone and back down. Right then, just before we go into some lead stuff, let's just do a quick demonstration of the rhythm with the backing track, and then we'll get right to it. Okay, we're going to look at some bending licks over this backing track. Lots of different ways you can do bending. When I say bending, I mean string bending, grabbing a string and bending it up. Now, one of my favourite things to do is to bend the string and then add the vibrato, as such. Now, the other thing I like to do is to bend the string up and just release it ever so slightly. It's not even by like a semitone or anything, it's just sort of really... I'm not really sure what it is, but it's basically just almost like a slow vibrato, but you bend in the note. And I like to use an up pick because it gives it a nice aggressive sound. Staying around the regular blues box, you know, in G. Okay, that's a very simple lick I like to use. And another one I like to use, it's a little bit like the kind of Hotel California thing, if you're familiar with that solo. You bend up and you kind of gradually release the note while continually striking it. Yeah. So that's two things. Now, another thing I like to do is to bend, say, for example, in the second position here, up a whole step, okay, and then bend it up a half step, like the flat 5, and then bend that B flat note there, being the minor third, like a blues bend. If you're not familiar with that, it's like some people call it a quarter tone bend, microtonal bend, but you're kind of going up, up. It's like if you think of Robert Plant, you know, down, down. That's the sound you're looking for. So you've got this kind of tone, semitone, blues bend. You also think of Mistreated. I've been mistreated. You know that song? Now I love to bend this note here up a minor third, so that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, or I guess it's 3 above. And you can just really, you can play all day on this stuff, you know, and a lot of guitar players do, and they make it sound awesome. And then you can come down here and do all the same sorts of stuff. There, I bent that a tone and then did the blues bend and resolved to the root note, the G on the 3rd fret high, you see. The other place I love to do that minor third bend again, if I'm in the key of G, will be on this 7th fret. What I'm doing there is bending that up a minor third, going chromatically down from 7 to 5, then sliding there, a bit of a Lukather type of thing. Sliding in, bending that like a blues bend. Finishing there, and doing it like that. And then I'd like to do it here as well. Also, I like to use a lot of semitone bends. So if I'm going to play off this 7th here, I'll go. And then even bend that note there, the 4th fret on the B string, up to that 5. Okay, so quite a few nice bending ideas there, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a little solo along with the backing track, incorporating all those ideas, and let's see if some more come out, and that'll give us some nice bending licks. Okay, hopefully what you saw me do there was lots of bending ideas, variation, you know, trying to get a bit of emotion in there and using those bends to really sort of grab the attention of the listener and hold them right in there. So quite simple stuff, but hopefully effective. So do work on those bends. Some of the ones where you're kind of holding it, if you haven't got the strength in your fingers, can be quite hard. But believe me, if you keep working at it, you will get it. Everything I've ever worked on for guitar, eventually I've got it. Obviously I'm still working on stuff, but things I thought I couldn't do, I now can. So you will get it as long as you keep working at it.